At just 15, Marcus Washington stood frozen as security dragged him out of Quantum Nexus. Behind him, CEO Richard Blackwell smirked and deleted a $100 million solution off the screen. No one believed a janitor's son had cracked what 50p couldn't. But before we dive into how this teenage genius went from being thrown out of a tech giant to reshaping Silicon Valley, tell us where you're watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe to follow Marcus' journey. Marcus lived with his mother Denise in a tiny Oakland apartment, a night shift cleaning supervisor at Quantum Nexus. She worked hard while her gifted son filled their walls with math formulas and code written on scraps of paper. By 12, Marcus taught himself calculus. By 14, he built algorithms rivaling MIT grads, but his mostly white school system dismissed him, accusing him of cheating, ignoring his talents, and pushing him toward realistic goals. Only Kesha, a neighbor and aspiring journalist, believed in him. Then came a spark. Denise mentioned an upcoming hackathon at her company, focused on solving a $100 million AI security flaw. Marcus begged to tag along. She reluctantly agreed under one condition: he had to stay close and actually help clean. Marcus prepared obsessively. He researched the company's AI systems and practiced coding under pressure. On hackathon night, dressed in an oversized maintenance uniform, he entered Quantum Nexus through the back, his one shot at being seen. Inside, the contrast was stark. During the day, the building was full of trendy, mostly white techies. At night, it was black and Latino janitors like his mom who kept the place running. As Marcus collected trash, he overheard tense conversations about the hackathon. CEO Blackwell was furious none of their top engineers had cracked the flaw. "These people are always underfoot," he muttered, dismissing the cleaning crew without a glance. Marcus pieced together what he could. The flaw involved a quantum encryption backdoor, something theoretically impossible. His brain lit up. He needed access to a terminal near the glass-walled conference room. He spotted something rare: a young black woman, standing alone, analyzing a whiteboard. Isolated, ignored. Marcus knew that feeling. As he watched, a VP approached her. "Amara, where are we on the quantum variable?" "I've identified a possible fix using a modified Shor's algorithm," Amara said, pointing to the whiteboard. "If we adjust the encryption keys to account for quantum decoherence, we might close the back door." Reynolds scanned her work, nodded, and walked off, presenting her idea to the team as if it were his own. Amara said nothing, just returned to her notes. Used to being overlooked from outside, Marcus watched, recognizing her pain. Another black mind stolen from and silenced nearby. An empty terminal blinked with code related to the security flaw. Marcus couldn't resist. He sat down and began typing. 5 minutes later, he was completely absorbed, uncovering what the experts had missed: a flaw in the quantum encryption layer, fixable by layering a prime factor validation system. "Hey!" A hand clamped down on his shoulder. It was James Cooper, head of security. "Caught you stealing secrets, huh?" "No, sir. I was trying to help. I think I solved it," Marcus stammered. "Sure you did," Cooper sneered. "Cleaning crew, always looking for what's not theirs." Amara stepped out. "What's going on?" "Kid was hacking into our system," Cooper said. "I wasn't hacking. The issue isn't the encryption. It's the quantum verification layer. You need a secondary validation system." Amara blinked. "Give me a minute with him, Miss Johnson." "1 minute," she insisted. She turned to Marcus. "How old are you?" 15. "And you understand quantum encryption?" "Yes. The flaw comes from coherence bleed during peak loads. It creates predictable patterns." Something in his voice made her pause. "James, I'm taking responsibility." Cooper scowled but let them pass. Inside the hackathon room, 50 engineers looked up in surprise as Amara walked in with Marcus. "Amara," said a programmer, "what is this?" "He has a potential solution worth hearing." Thomas Reynolds scoffed. "From the janitor's son, I support diversity. but this is a stretch. Let him speak, said Dr. William Chin. Innovation comes from unlikely places. Marcus took a deep breath and presented his fix. At first, whispers filled the room, then silence. He explained the quantum verification flaw, his hands moving swiftly over the keyboard, line by line. He implemented his fixa validation system using prime factorization that adapted to coherence fluctuations. When the simulation ran, the results were perfect. 100% integrity. Dr. Chin whispered, "Remarkable." Others nodded, in agreement. Just then, CEO Richard Blackwell entered. "What's going on here?" he asked, spotting Marcus. Sir Reynolds jumped in. "This cleaning kid claims to have fixed the flaw. Amara let him in." "Unbelievable," Blackwell muttered. "Who are you?" "Marcus Washington. My mom works in cleaning. I solved your quantum flaw." "You, a janitor's kid? That's impossible." Dr. Chin stepped up. "His solution works. We've tested it." Blackwell frowned. "After months of work, you expect me to believe a teenager cracked it in 20 minutes. He turned to security. "How did he get in?" "He's been coming here with his mother for months," Cooper said. Blackwell's face lit up with suspicion. "So he's been spying?" "No, sir," Marcus said. "I taught myself quantum computing. I recognized the flaw the moment I saw the code." Blackwell laughed. "You expect us to believe that? This is a breach." Then, with a few keystrokes, he deleted Marcus' solution from the system. Blackwell accessed admin controls. Marcus watched in shock as the CEO copied his solution to a secure server and deleted it from the system and all backups. "Sir, what are you doing?" Dr. Chin protested. "We'll have security review the breach," Blackwell replied coolly. "In the meantime, remove him." He nodded to Cooper. "And I want his mother in my office tomorrow morning." As Cooper dragged Marcus away, the teen shouted, "Run the tests. You'll see it works." But no one listened. Through the glass walls, Marcus saw Blackwell already spinning a lie to the engineering team. In the lobby, he spotted Denise, hurt, face filled with panic as she rushed over. "What's happening? What did my son do?" "Unauthorized system access," Cooper said flatly. "Mr. Blackwell expects you at 9 a.m. The ride home was tense. Marcus struggled to explain. The next day, Denise returned in tears with a termination notice. "They fired me. Said I brought you in to spy. They made me sign an NDA." Amara Johnson had defended Marcus, preventing criminal charges. But Denise was blacklisted from tech jobs. They soon faced unemployment, dwindling savings, and talk of leaving the Bay Area. Weeks later, Marcus got an anonymous email. "They're using your code." Attached was a leaked video of Blackwell presenting Marcus's work to the board as Quantum Shield, claiming full credit. Enraged, Marcus showed his mother. Before they could decide what to do, a knock came at the door. It was Luis Gonzalez, their neighbor and a civil rights attorney. "I overheard," he said gently. "If this is true, you may have a case." They told Luis everything. He explained that Marcus likely held intellectual property rights, since he wasn't an employee or under contract. The stolen code, if proven, could be grounds for legal action. Amara, now in contact through encrypted messages, confirmed Quantum Nexus had fully implemented Marcus' solution. She risked her job to leak internal documents, specs, and a draft press release. Luis helped Marcus compile years of notes and forum posts, showing he had the skills to build the solution. Marcus also identified his signature coding shortcut in the company's version. Meanwhile, Denise faced rejection after rejection, labeled a security risk. The stress wore on both of them, but Amara kept sending more evidence. She revealed a pattern. Blackwell had previously stolen innovations from black employees, including a facial recognition breakthrough by Jerome Williams. The company's tech staff was 93% white and Asian men. "This isn't just IP theft," Luis said. "It's systemic discrimination." Marcus created a tool proving the code was implemented after the hackathon. The case was solidifying. Thomas Reynolds cornered Amara. "We know you're the leak. Stop now or risk everything." Shaken, Amara messaged Marcus. "They're on to me. Protect yourself," he urged. Double quotes, "No. What they're doing is wrong." The next day, she sent one last recording Blackwell, planning to patent Marcus's work. "If anyone traces this to that janitor's kid, we'll say he copied our in-progress code. Who are they going to believe?" That was the final piece. "We're ready," Louise said. "But this won't be easy. They'll fight hard." Marcus looked at his mother, thinking of Amara, of others like him denied credit or opportunity. "I'm ready," he said. "This is bigger than me now." Denise squeezed his hand. "We're in this together." Louise nodded. "Then let's prepare for battle." The lawsuit landed on Blackwell's desk like a bombshell. Intellectual property theft, discrimination, wrongful termination, and fraud. The first domino had fallen. Quantum Nexus's legal team, led by the ruthless Catherine Harrington, sprang into action. "This is absurd," Blackwell fumed. "A janitor's kid suing us for $100 million. This has to be a shakedown." Harrington reviewed the evidence with icy precision. "The timeline of our product rollout matches his claims. A quick settlement, with an NDA, might be wise." Blackwell slammed the table. "Absolutely not. We fight." Their counterattack was swift. Quantum Nexus filed motions to dismiss the lawsuit and launched a smear campaign hiring investigators to dig into Marcus's life, photographing their apartment, interviewing neighbors, and scouring public records. Tech media picked up the story. David versus Goliath. Janitor's son versus Silicon Valley giant. Social media exploded. Supporters praised Marcus' courage. Skeptics questioned how a teen could outsmart elite engineers. Meanwhile, Quantum Nexus released statements portraying him as a greedy opportunist. Worse, Marcus began receiving threats. "Know your place, kid." Some were even more violent. Louis reported them to police, but little came of it. Then, former teachers started coming forward with suspiciously coordinated attacks. Mr. Peterson claimed Marcus struggled with basic algebra. Mrs. Winters called him a troubled student. Lies but damaging. Job rejections mounted. Even Denise's cleaning applications were denied. "They're trying to starve us out," she said. Louis confirmed it. "They want you to broke to fight." But the case grew stronger. More former employees of color came forward, including Jerome Williams, who had his facial recognition work stolen by Blackwell. "This is a pattern," Jerome said in his affidavit. "They silence us and steal our work." What began as one teen's fight was now a potential class action lawsuit exposing systemic bias. Quantum Nexus panicked. Harrington offered Louis a $250,000 settlement with a lifetime NDA, a generous offer. She said coldly. Marcus didn't hesitate. "No deal. This isn't just about money, it's about justice." Denise, worried but proud, agreed. Blackwell was livid. The company sued Marcus back, accusing him of illegally accessing their systems, an intimidation tactic designed to bury them in legal trouble. But Marcus wasn't done. He discovered something worse. Quantum Nexus was secretly selling encrypted user data to foreign servers, violating privacy laws. "They're using my stolen quantum algorithm to hide it," Marcus told Louis. "I need more power to break the encryption." He kept digging. Then one day, while working at a community center, a stranger approached him, a quiet, older Asian man with kind eyes and a UC badge. "I'm Dr. William Chin. I once led security architecture at Quantum Nexus until Blackwell stole my work too." Marcus stared. "You too." "They silenced me with a settlement and NDA," Chin said. "But I saw your case and knew the pattern. I can't talk about mine, but I can help you." Marcus showed him the data leaks. Chin's face darkened. "This violates federal law, and if they're selling to foreign entities, it's a national security risk." But how do I prove it? I didn't exactly access it, legally. Chin nodded. Then we'll find someone who can. I still know people, white hat researchers, auditors. You're not alone anymore. Chin introduced Marcus to other silenced innovators. Sofia Rodriguez, who developed core machine learning algorithms before being forced out. James Watkins, whose UI designs shaped the platform while he remained in an entry-level role. Maya Patel, who flagged security flaws that were ignored until someone else took credit. Together, they formed a quiet alliance, a network of truth-tellers, ready to expose the rot at the heart of Quantum Nexus. The question now wasn't just whether Marcus would win. It was how much of the truth the world was finally ready to hear. After Maya Patel revealed her security discovery had been credited to her white male supervisor, she joined the others to form the Quantum Justice Coalition, a group determined to expose Quantum Nexus's theft and discrimination. Dr. Chin offered technical expertise. Luis led legal efforts, and Marcus, youngest among them, became the group's core and technical mastermind. We need a secure way to share intel without being tracked, Marcus told the team. He quickly built a private encrypted platform ironically based on the very quantum system that had been stolen from him. Using it, they compiled a detailed timeline of Quantum Nexus's systemic abuses. Urgency escalated when a respected cybersecurity expert verified Marcus's shocking discovery. The company was illegally transferring user data to unauthorized foreign servers. Luis amended the lawsuit to include federal data privacy violations. Meanwhile, Marcus uncovered another flaw. Nexus had implemented his algorithm incorrectly, creating massive security holes. They weren't just thieves, they were putting millions of users at risk. Marcus hatched a bold strategy, exposed the truth, simultaneously to board members, investors, and regulators, before Quantum Nexus could spin the story. The coalition packaged personalized, airtight evidence sets and launched them to 50 key figures. The reaction was swift. Within 24 hours, several board members reached out to Luis discreetly. 3 institutional investors opened internal reviews. The FBI launched a formal inquiry into Quantum Nexus. Then Marcus received a secure message. Need to meet. Info on Blackwell's next move. TR. It was Thomas Reynolds, Blackwell's right hand. The coalition debated trap or tip. Dr. Chin guessed Reynolds was jumping ship. They met in a public place with backup. Reynolds, clearly shaken, confessed. Blackwell's planning to flee. Private jet. Offshore accounts. He'll pin this all on me and vanish. Why tell us? Luis asked. Self-preservation, Reynolds admitted. He offered to testify in exchange for the stolen quantum solution, and more. Dr. Chin's contacts verified the money transfers. The FBI's case accelerated. Soon, board members met Marcus privately. After hearing his technical explanation, they were floored. You really did build this, said Alexander Winters. Extraordinary. Several began pushing to settle the case internally. Blackwell found out and panicked. He called a closed-door meeting, banning dissenters. Crush them, he ordered. Discredit the kid. Pressure his mother. Hit everyone who supports them. But Reynolds had recorded the entire outburst. More damning evidence now in FBI hands. As the case approached a pivotal federal hearing, Marcus prepared a demonstration to show clearly and simply that his innovation was real, and his courtroom showdown would decide whether their case advanced or died. The morning of the hearing, the San Francisco federal courthouse loomed against the sky. Cameras flashed as Marcus and Denise climbed the steps. He wore a slightly oversized suit, but walked with dignity. She stood tall beside him, pride and fear in her eyes. Inside, Judge Eleanor Martinez, known for her sharp mind, would decide the lawsuit's fate. If she ruled in their favor, Quantum Nexus would face federal charges, and Marcus claims would go to trial. If not, The company would likely bury them in endless litigation. The courtroom was packed. 12 corporate attorneys, led by the infamous Catherine Harrington, stood ready to attack. But the coalition was ready to dot, and no one could predict what would happen next. 2 days after the hearing, Marcus sat in the packed courtroom as Judge Martinez delivered her ruling. This court finds sufficient merit in the plaintiff's claims to deny the motion to dismiss, she said. All claims including intellectual property theft, discrimination, wrongful termination, and data privacy violations would proceed to trial. She then issued an injunction. Quantum Nexus was barred from using Marcus's security solution until ownership was legally determined. Additionally, accounts linked to financial misconduct were frozen, and evidence of perjury was referred to federal authorities. The courtroom buzzed with disbelief. David had just landed a crushing blow against Goliath. Outside, cameras swarmed Marcus. "This isn't just about me," he told reporters. "It's about justice for every invisible innovator erased because of what they look like." Back at Quantum Nexus HQ, the fallout was immediate. Stock value plummeted. Contracts were canceled. The FBI investigation expanded. During an emergency board meeting, Richard Blackwell attempted damage control until board member Alexander Winters interrupted. "You're being removed as CEO, effective immediately." Citing undeniable evidence of misconduct, the board voted unanimously. Security escorted Blackwell out as he shouted threats. The next day, Marcus and his team were invited to a neutral conference room, where Winters personally apologized. The board offered full credit and $90 million compensation for Marcus's innovation, now officially named the Washington Protocol. Denise reinstated with back pay and promoted to oversee fair labor practices. Amara Johnson, elevated to VP of Security Solutions, a new role for Marcus, Chief Innovation Officer. At just 15, Marcus had one condition: "I want to start a foundation to support underprivileged students in tech, and I want Quantum Nexus to fund it." Winters agreed within days. The Invisible Innovators Foundation launched with a $50 million endowment. The story captured national attention. Marcus appeared on magazine covers, gave talks at top universities, and testified before Congress about systemic bias in tech. But through it all, he remained grounded, driven by the same quiet purpose that had started it all: to be seen, and to make sure others would be too. Marcus' courtroom testimony became a turning point, not just in the lawsuit, but in the national conversation around equity in technology. His words about the systemic barriers faced by young innovators of color were so compelling. They helped inspire new federal initiatives to improve diversity in STEM education. At Quantum Nexus, sweeping changes followed. Marcus was named Chief Innovation Officer, and under his leadership, the company overhauled its practices. They introduced strict anti-discrimination policies, implemented blind review systems for evaluating new innovations, and formed partnerships with schools in underserved neighborhoods. Mentorship programs were launched to help minority students break into tech. Most significantly, the culture of the company evolved. Innovation was now recognized, no matter where it came from. Personally, Marcus's path remained both demanding and fulfilling. He completed high school through an accelerated program while steering the company's technical direction. His mother, Denise, now promoted to Director of Facilities Operations, led workplace reforms that turned Quantum Nexus into a model employer for support staff. The Washington Protocol, his breakthrough in quantum encryption, became the new industry standard, and Marcus's name became synonymous not just with brilliance, but with integrity. 2 years later, with Marcus just 17, the company faced another turning point. Interim CEO Alexander Winters announced her retirement. After a thorough global search, the board made a historic choice, naming Marcus Washington the youngest CEO in Silicon Valley's history. The announcement made waves. Skeptics questioned whether someone so young, regardless of talent, could handle the job. Marcus addressed those doubts head-on, at his first press conference. Age is only one kind of diversity, he said. What matters most is vision, clarity, and the ability to lead with purpose. I've built an executive team that reflects diversity in age, gender, race, and background, because innovation thrives on difference. His first initiative as CEO was bold and symbolic. He established a nationwide network of free coding academies in underserved communities, often visiting them in person to teach. These programs uncovered remarkable talent in places that had been ignored for decades. Under Marcus's leadership, Quantum Nexus flourished. The company's stock tripled in value within 18 months, and its name became associated with both breakthrough technology and ethical leadership. The story's final chapter unfolded 3 years after the hackathon that changed everything. Marcus visited one of his academies and met Zora, a young black girl who had solved an advanced AI challenge with extraordinary insight. Her work reminded him of himself. "This is brilliant," he told her. "You saw what others missed." Zora hesitated. "Really? My teacher said I overcomplicated it." Marcus smiled. "Your teacher was wrong. You belong here. Never doubt that." Later that evening, as Marcus walked through Quantum Nexus headquarters, he paused before a wall of company milestones. One photo showed him at 15, wearing a janitor's oversized uniform. Another captured him today, leading a global tech powerhouse. The contrast was striking, but the real transformation was deeper. It was in the values now woven into the company's fabric, where innovation had no zip code, and where brilliance was welcomed no matter the source. Marcus' journey from being dismissed as a janitor's son to becoming the youngest CEO in Silicon Valley offers more than inspiration. It's a roadmap. His story reminds us, genius doesn't care about race, income, or credentials. It can emerge from anywhere. Systemic bias doesn't just hurt individuals. It stunts our collective progress. Courage matters. Marcus refused to be silenced, and his perseverance brought lasting change. Allies make the fight possible. Without people like Louis Samara and Dr. Chin, Marcus might have lost everything. Real change is structural. Marcus's new victory meant nothing if others couldn't follow in his footsteps. In a world where bias too often defines who gets seen, Marcus's legacy proves that valuing talent from all backgrounds isn't just right, it's necessary for progress. Has Marcus' rise inspired you to keep pushing through your own challenges? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you believe more companies should follow Quantum Nexus's lead in elevating overlooked talent, hit that like button. Subscribe for more true stories of underdogs who rewrote the rules. And remember, the next world-changing idea could come from anyone, anywhere, including you.